Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Bronwyn Parry, and I'm the GM of Corporate and External Relations for Kingsgate, an experienced ASX-listed gold producer. Now, some of you may have heard our MD and CEO, Jamie Gibson's talk this morning, and unfortunately my presentation won't be as entertaining, and it certainly won't mention any Bond villains. Firstly, I'd like to reiterate how delighted we are to be the gold sponsors of the Australian Gold Conference here today, the only Australian event which brings together all the precious metals and investment community. And what a week to be hosting a gold conference with gold reaching fresh highs just last week. So firstly, please take note of the standard disclaimers and forward-looking statement. Okay, so now I'd like to start with a bit of background about Kingsgate. So Kingsgate's an Australian company, and we're based here in Sydney, and we were listed on the Australian Stock Exchange in 1988. We're an experienced Pacific Rim gold producer with expertise in gold exploration, development and mining. And over the years, Kingsgate's owned and operated a number of development projects and operating gold mines, including the Chatree Gold Mine, which we brought back into production last year. So firstly, taking a look at our capital structure. So at the end of last month, our market cap was around 390 million Australian dollars. We had 41 million in cash, bullion and doré, and we had 53 million in debt. We have approximately 260 million shares on issue and 10 million options and warrants. That's quite small by peer comparison, and it's a point that we're quite proud of. So our share register is a mix of institutional holders, high net wealth and sophisticated retail investors, and we've been pleased to pick up some recent broker coverage, and it's good to be back on the radar of both Canaccord and Wilsons. So our key assets consist of the Chatree Gold Mine, which I'll be speaking about today, and that's located in central Thailand, and the highly prospective Nueva Esperanza silver gold development project in Chile. Moving on to our team, Kingsgate has a highly experienced board and management team, which we've recently been refreshing with new hires including Dan O'Connell as CFO and Gillian Terry as General Manager Geology. Both Jill and Dan are both ex-Newcrest, and they bring a wealth of highly relevant experience. And they've both had a hugely positive impact on Kingsgate in the short time that they've been with us so far. So moving on to Chatree. So this is our flagship asset, the Chatree Gold Mine located in central Thailand. It's about 280 kilometres north of the capital of Bangkok. So for a bit of background, Kingsgate's been operating in Thailand since the late 1990s, when the deposit was first discovered by a team of Thai and Australian geologists. We're proud that some of these geologists still work for us today, and in fact, the Chatree Gold Mine was named after one of these founding geos. So operations commenced at Chatree in 2001, and the mine produced approximately 1.8 million ounces of gold and 10 million ounces of silver between 2001 and 2016. So Chatree wasn't in operation between 2017 and 2021, when a key licence we needed to operate wasn't renewed. So Kingsgate took action under the Thai-Australia Free Trade Agreement, and following an international legal process with the Thai government, Chatree officially reopened in March last year. So since then, we've been overhauling our processing plants and have been processing just low-grade stockpiles until very recently, when full mining operations recommenced mid this year, and the Plant 1 overhaul project was completed. So the final stages of this commissioning process are underway, and they will be finalised this quarter. So processing operations up at Chatree consist of two parallel plants with a pretty standard carbon and leach setup, but what sets us apart is our scale. These are huge plants. Plant 1's nameplate capacity is 2.3 million tonnes per annum, and Plant 2's nameplate capacity is 2.7 million tonnes per annum. And this is an important quarter for us as we're ramping up both processing and mining operations, and we're focused on returning to steady state production and exceeding the combined 5 million tonne nameplate capacity. Plant 2 is already consistently performing above nameplate, and Plant 1 isn't too far behind. In terms of geology, Chatree is a large, low-grade, low-sulphidation epithermal deposit, and it's located in the highly prospective Loei Fold Belt. So that starts up in Laos, it goes through Thailand and tails out into Cambodia. And we're right in the middle of the belt, and we're the only operating mine in that whole belt. Currently, we have resources of 3.4 million tonnes, 3.4 million ounces of gold, and a reserve of 1.3 million ounces. And that's supporting a 9-year mine life. So regarding our team, we're really proud of our highly educated local Thai workforce. with over 98% of our workforce being Thai and 90% from the local community within 5 to 10 kilometres of the mine. So looking ahead, this quarter mining operations are currently ramping up, supported by the delivery of additional tranches of new CAT equipment, and more than half of this gear is now on site and is currently operational, with a further 10 777 trucks and another 60-30 excavator due by the end of the quarter. We'll have a pretty impressive fleet by then, with 20 777 trucks and the 2 60-30s operating. So moving on to exploration. So as I've mentioned, we're currently growing our team, led by our GM Geology, Jill Terry, who's bringing new methods and a renewed focus to the team. We currently have over 1,200 square kilometres of exploration potential across 17 active tenements within 20 kilometres of the Chatri gold mine. So Chatri is the gold-brown sort of shape in the centre of the map on the screen. So Jill's planned an aggressive exploration program that will test the upside interpretations of the mineral endowment to rigorously assess these exploration targets over the next 6 to 12 months. So this includes metallurgical, geochemical and hydrogeological work for the near mine prospects. And the ones that we're most excited about include BR, Chalawan and Kumpi. And we've now confirmed that these are a southeastern extension of the Chatri system. So we're currently working on an updated resource estimate for the Chatri A pit, which is our current mining pit, and that's being developed by Cube Consulting for publishing next quarter. So this update will incorporate the latest drilling and modelling data, and importantly, that will inform our mining schedule for the next 2 to 3 years. So looking ahead in 2025, an updated resource estimate for the remaining Chatri ore body and nearby prospects will be undertaken as well. So taking a closer look at 2 of the near mine prospects of the Chatri complex. So both BR and Chalawan on the screen. So these prospects are southeast of the mine and within 2 to 3 kilometres of the processing plants, so an easily truckable distance currently. And we've been getting really consistent positive results from RC drilling. So we're confident that Chalawan is the arm of an anticline and it's plunging at depth. And next year, we're looking at possibly building this into its own target and start proving up resources and reserves to potentially grow Chatri's life of mine. So concurrently, we're also looking into converting this area into a new mining lease, given its proximity to our processing plants. In terms of current activities, Thailand's currently in the middle of the wet season, so drilling is limited. However, in the meantime, the team's been busy planning what they'll be doing once drilling can recommence. So there'll be a range of drilling, mapping and sampling in all 10 of the near mine areas. So that's within 20 k's of Chatri, which was shown on the previous map. And there'll be a focus on testing these quite vigorously. However, the priority will of course be given to these 3 southeastern prospects that are closest to the mine and are an extension of the Chatri ore body. So we'll be continuing RC drilling later this year, and a lot more diamond drilling is planned. So moving on to community. So without a social licence to operate, of course, there isn't a mine. So you may have heard our CEO, Jamie, mention a few times that Thailand is a very relationship-driven country. So we take our social and community responsibilities very seriously. So we kicked off many of these programs before we commenced production in 2001, and we continued many of them even when the mine was closed. So our 4-pillar strategy focuses on sustainability, health and wellbeing, education and clean water. And this is across a range of community programs that cover investments in infrastructure within the region, providing supplies and equipment to local hospitals, supporting underprivileged children with uniforms and school supplies, funding scholarships, and supporting a range of micro-businesses within the community. So the team maintains active engagement with the local community through monthly meetings with the 28 villages near the mine. So this covers 5,000 households and over 14,000 people. So moving on to our second asset, which is Nueva Esperanza. And this is a feasibility stage development project located in the highly endowed Maricunga gold-silver belt in the Atacama region of Chile. So it's about 140 kilometres from the regional mining town of Copiapó. So in fact, Goldfields Solaris Norte and Kinross's La Coipa are just down the road in the same part of the belt. So a bit of background, Kingsgate acquired the project in 2011, and it was a patchwork of ground from Anglo and Kinross. It's highly prospective, and in fact, it's still the 6th largest undeveloped silver deposit in the world. So the project has current resources of 500,000 ounces of gold and 83 million ounces of silver. So Nueva consists of 3 pits with an underground zone underneath Arqueros, the main pit. So one of the pits, Chimberos, was mined in the late 1990s by the previous owner, and over 32 million ounces of silver were produced in only 13 months. So we know it's got incredible potential. So when Kingsgate acquired the project, we had a number of breakthroughs, including discovering gold at Chimberos. But we know that there wasn't a lot of assaying for gold. This is something that we want to follow up. So we're revisiting historical data to plan a targeted exploration program, including properly investigating this gold endowment. And lastly on this, Cube Consulting are currently developing an updated resource estimate for Nueva, so we're keeping Jill and her team quite busy. And lastly, the point that we made at the Diggers and Dealers presentation recently is that we're currently exploring opportunities to unlock the project's value for shareholders, and one option that we're currently looking at is listing it separately or spinning it out of the company, giving our shareholders an exposure to what could be quite an interesting silver play. So looking ahead, and this is what we know all our shareholders and investors are keen to find out. So we've got a busy few months ahead for Team Kingsgate, which we've mapped out just below. So next month, we'll of course be releasing our full year financial results. And we're also, now that we're on the ramp up back to full operations, we'll be providing both cost and production guidance for FY25, and that will be out around the same time. Also, by the end of the quarter, there'll be more of the brand new CAT equipment arriving to site, and that'll be assembled and commissioned, including the last of these 10 777 trucks and the 6030. And looking ahead to the following quarter, at the end of the year, as previously announced, the resource estimate work for both Chatree and Nueva will both be delivered and released to market, and that'll be around the same time as our annual report as well. And lastly, this exploration drilling will be able to recommence from the second quarter. Now, I'd like to finish with our Kingsgate value proposition and a bit of a reminder of what makes us different. So firstly, our financial strength. So most notably, our last quarter was our first cash flow positive quarter, which is a big deal for us, and it means that we're back. We're also fully funded with a US $35 million Namari debt facility, and we've also have a tight capital structure by peer comparison, which I've just mentioned. And lastly, we're unhedged and fully exposed to the record gold price. Secondly, production ramp up. So we're ramping up both mining and processing operations. And I must say it's quite an exciting time to be up at Chatree with regular blasts and all this new kit on site. With the final commissioning of Plant 1 underway, and after this extensive overhaul, we're focused on returning to the steady state production of over 500 million tonnes per annum. And we're aiming to exceed that. Chatree's operated well above that in the past, so we're aiming quite high with this. And of course, this is supported by all this new equipment on site. And lastly, unlocking growth. We've got an aggressive near mine and regional exploration program underway to grow resources and reserves and convert and to extend Chatree's life of mine. And that's with approximately $4 million US of exploration spend for this financial year, which is a significant uplift on $2.5 million that was spent last year. And as for Nueva, which we recently mentioned, we're currently exploring opportunities to unlock shareholder value, and we'll have more to say on this as plans progress. So this brings me to the end of the presentation. To conclude, 2024 has been and continues to be a transformational year for our company, and has marked the beginning of a new era for Kingsgate and our Chatree operations. And we're incredibly excited about what's planned for the remainder of the year and beyond. Thanks again for your time, and if you're interested in learning more about Kingsgate, please come and see us at the booth. Thanks very much.